Hello everybody, I'm David Bird. Welcome to Half Spin, and we're talking about the sport of knife throwing. Today I want to talk about the two main categories of throwing knives: no spin throwing knives and rotational throwing knives. So you've probably heard of these two categories, no spin and rotational. If you go to custom knife makers websites, you might see the two categories, no spin knives and rotational knives. And maybe you're not quite sure which ones are considered no spin and which ones are considered rotational. So let's break it down. So let's start by talking about rotational throwing knives. When we say rotational, we mean that you're going to be throwing it from the handle. If you throw it from the handle and it rotates, it needs to do one full rotation to stick in the target. So usually rotational knives are meant to be thrown from the handle and they will do one full rotation. If you go further back, you'll do two full rotations. If you go further back, three full rotations. So rotational throwing is traditionally done by the handle. Rotational throwing knives are usually a little bit larger because you want that full rotation and you don't want it to spin too fast. So rotational knives on the very small end are 10 inches and on the larger end like 16 inches. But usually you'll find rotational knives between 13 and 14 inches. Rotational knives have different blade styles, like the clip point of this jack dagger or the spear point of this Böker Zeal. It just depends on your preference. Just to give you an idea of some of the variety of rotational knives, here's a clip point style jack dagger from Cold Steel. Here's a spinner Bowie, so this is a Bowie style knife that's from acejet. Again, you got the spear point of the Böker Zeal. You can also find some thinner spear point rotational throwing knives like these Cold Steel Sureflights. And there's even these huge rotational throwing knives that the World Knife Throwing League has you use if you enter any of their competitions. They make you use these knives because you have to have these guards so it can't accidentally go through a chain link fence for their regulations. And these are quite large rotational throwing knives. But what all the rotational throwing knives have in common is they're a little bit longer and they're meant to be thrown by the handle. Now let's talk about no spin throwing knives. No spin throwing knives, as it sounds, are meant to be thrown one of the no spin styles. No spin knives are usually anywhere from 8 inches to 11 inches, but most commonly they're about between 9 and 10 inches. These are arrow style no spin knives like the Tom Tom Arrow or the acejet Stinger. And the way these are meant to be thrown is no spin with your finger on the top and you throw it like this, fit-in style where you hold it between your knuckle and you throw it like this, or different wave styles of throwing. Acetters are another common no spin style knife. And so these are a Russian style knife. They look like traditional knives, or like these Russian Vietish knives. What you're seeing though with these no spin knives is smaller. They're pretty thick if they're good no spin knives. If you notice, all of these are around the same length. They have about the same weight, and it's because no spin is so finicky in its weight and its length. So what about half spin? Well, you can throw no spin knives half spin, or you can throw rotational knives half spin. If you look at like this Tom Tom Arrow, you can throw it no spin, but you can throw it half spin just as well. And so usually the no spin knives throw very well half spin and no spin. Something like this jack dagger is really large and it's meant to be thrown by the handle. You can throw it half spin, but it is a little clunky throwing it half spin. So usually the rotational knives don't do as well half spin, but you can definitely throw them half spin if you wanted to. Like the spinner Bowies. I enjoy throwing the spinner Bowies half spin. I think they throw really well half spin for a large knife. So I hope I was able to give you an idea between a no spin knife and a rotational knife. Again, a rotational knife is meant to be thrown by the handle and a no spin knife is meant to be thrown no spin or half spin. No spin knives throw really well half spin. I don't know if this video is going to be any good.